In the context of biology for an 8th grade level, transmission of characters, typically, refers to the inheritance of traits from one generation to the next, which is governed by genetics. Here's a simplified explanation of how genetic traits are transmitted in biology for 8th grade students. 1. Genes and DNA inside the cells of living organisms. There are structures called genes. Genes are made up of DNA, which contains the instructions for the development and functioning of an organism. 2. Chromosomes. Genes are located on structures called chromosomes. Humans have 46 chromosomes in their cells, organized into 23 pairs. One chromosome in each pair comes from the mother, and the other from the father. 3. Inherited traits. Humans inherit traits like eye color, hair texture, and many others from their parents. These traits are determined by specific genes. 4. Dominant and recessive genes. Some genes are dominant, which means their instructions are followed, while others are recessive, and their instructions are not followed unless both copies of the gene are recessive. 5. Punnett squares. Geneticists use Punnett squares to predict the possible outcomes of offspring when considering the combination of genes from both parents. This helps explain why some traits are more common or less common in a family. 6. Mendel's laws. Gregor Mendel was a scientist who discovered the basic principles of inheritance. His laws describe how genes are transmitted from one generation to the next. He worked with pea plants, but the same principles apply to many other organisms. 7. Sexual reproduction. Sexually reproducing organisms, like humans, offspring inherit a combination of genes from both parents. This leads to genetic diversity among siblings. 8. Mutation. Sometimes, changes in genes occur, leading to new traits. This is called a mutation. Mutations can be beneficial, harmful, or have no significant effect on an organism. 9. Environmental influence. While genes determine many traits, some traits can also be influenced by environmental factors. For example, nutrition can affect an individual's height. 10. Variation. The transmission of characters leads to genetic variation in populations. This diversity is essential for the survival of species because it allows some individuals to be better suited to their environment. Understanding the transmission of characters is a fundamental concept in biology, and it lays the foundation for more advanced genetic studies as students progress in their education. At the 8th grade level, the emphasis is typically on grasping these basic concepts and their practical implications, rather than delving into the intricacies of molecular genetics.